Flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And this video right here is going to be about why are you in a toxic relationship? Why is your monkey ass in a toxic ass relationship? Now we're going to break this shit down because, you know, a lot of times people blame it on narcissism. A lot of times people blame it on insecurities. A lot of times people blame it on a whole bunch of extracurricular shit. You know what I'm saying? Based upon what an individual may have lacked and what they try to put on the other individual to fulfill. But for the most part, when it comes into you being in a toxic relationship, this actually, I don't care what kind of psychological problems a person got. It takes two. And this boils down all the way to the simple fact that one or the other individual have jumped into a relationship before they actually knew what they actually wanted. So they didn't start discovering what they actually wanted until they was already in a relationship. And once a person started to discover this ain't what they actually wanted and this is what they actually want, but if they already tied into a relationship, once they discover that, let the games begin. The relationship is getting ready to be a toxic one because there's going to be all kind of behind the scenes, esoteric, mind and emotional games being played on trying to separate from the relationship without making that an actual reality at the jump. You get what I'm saying? Because once you jump into a relationship with someone, you automatically going to have this guilt energy of leaving a person behind when you start to feel different. And based upon you developing feelings and caring for this individual's feelings and things of that nature, right? You start to play in subtle, indirect ways to rock them to sleep, to make them aware of you not wanting them anymore. All the way down to the physical representation of it. A person will actually cheat on an individual because they feel like that's a better way to let the individual know that they don't want them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Other than just straight up telling them that they don't want them or just straight up telling them that they don't like their actions and their moves. So once it jump into a motherfucker conversation that you're in and you start to talk about you in a toxic ass relationship, you're only in a toxic relationship because one or the other individual didn't figure out what they actually wanted until they actually was in the relationship. And then at that point it was too motherfucking late. And then once it's too fucking late and then you start figuring out what you actually wanted after the fact, especially if you don't see it in this individual, then let the esoteric mind games begin in this motherfucker. And that's going to play out into toxicity because y'all dirtying up the whole circumstance and situation that you guys have created. Now, here's the thing. This is why I say one or the other. Because one person could be truly in love and the other person could be like, damn, what the fuck I get myself into? You see what I'm saying? And then that's going to play out into the toxic energy because the person that's looking at it like what the fuck I get myself into going to be finding indirect ways to kind of either make this person come up with their own idea that they need to leave or just put this person in a space where, okay, if you are going to be in my surroundings and I'm starting to realize I didn't necessarily want you, but you're not, it don't matter what I do negatively, you still won't separate. Well, I'm gonna have all these extreme demands, and if you're willing to do those extreme demands, then for the most part, here, you can stay into this toxic ass relationship. But at the end of the day, whenever you do decide to leave, you can't really throw it all on me because I told you ahead of time, or I made you feel ahead of time, or I made you think ahead of time that this relationship may not necessarily be the right thing based upon the indirect energy that the individual who jumped into the relationship and then realized that this ain't what they wanted after the fact start to put this person in. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. So it gets into a situation where you start developing blood on your hands by default because you shouldn't even jumped in that situation in the first place on both sides. You know what I'm saying? The person should have knew what kind of relationship or knew what they actually wanted before they just jumped up and tried to experience. And then a person that is gullible or is in super love and things of that nature and just want to give all their love away, they're going to be in a situation where they learn better not to be giving your love in miscellaneous directions or in miscellaneous areas. You know what I'm saying? Start to retract and put your love and direct that in the right area so you can manifest things that's more in your favor. So both people want to be learning. But for the most part, this is why you in a toxic relationship because one or the other individual didn't discover what they actually wanted until they was already in a relationship. And then once they start to figure out that this ain't what they want, this ain't what you want, and once they start to figure out this what they actually want and things of that nature, then there's going to be a whole bunch of behind the scenes mind games in order to reach that goal, because you can't do it up front based upon you already being in a relationship. So the relationship that you're currently in is just going to become toxic, aka both of you guys or both of each other playing esoteric mind games to convince each other that you guys need to leave each other alone without making that an actual physical representation and just sitting down and having to talk about it. You see what I'm saying? So it gets real spiritually childish. But this lets you know that you're in a toxic ass relationship. So if you are in a relationship with someone right now and you are not the toxic one, you just love this individual, but you can't do no right, and this individual is steady being toxic. It don't matter the circumstance. They ain't even got to be cheating. It could be certain emotional states that they constantly in every time they're around you and shit like that. And then they act like they're in a better space when they get around other. Damn, got to delete the previous videos. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Only way you could be in a toxic ass relationship is when you're involving yourself with an individual who didn't realize what they wanted until after the fact. And sometimes that take weeks, sometimes that take months, sometimes that take years. But the moment a person starts to become toxic, that's when you know that this individual start to dislike things that they see into you, and start to see what they do like into others in some way, shape, or form. And then they're going to start playing behind the scenes esoteric mind games with you in order to set that circumstance up in order for either you to start to play that role, or for you to be convinced that you're no longer needed in this individual life and you need to come up with your own ideas of separating. So keep that in mind. Now let's say if you are the toxic individual and you're around someone who you just can't get rid of in some way, shape, or form, you need to sit back and ponder on why are you being toxic. At the root cause of it is because you want something else in your space and you no longer see that person being able to cater those traits. So you're either going to start to manipulate from a behind the scenes realm and manipulate the scenario to kind of indirectly force this person to start acting in a manner that you want, or you're going to start to do certain things to make this person feel like they don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to do a bunch of nasty things. And then it's when you might turn into a narcissist and put your standards levels way higher than it was before you even originally met this person, just to make this person feel like it's too many eggshells that they have to walk on just to be in a relationship with you. So they're going to leave in some way, shape, or form. And you need to be careful of that also, because the level of extent that a person might do this in order to hurt you, when you know in reality this is not hurting you, this is what you want them to do, it might be something that's really bad for you. You know what I'm saying? This person might hit you with a car. You know what I'm saying? This person might shoot you or stab you. So you got to be careful when you're even playing in those kind of waters, and just learn how to be more straight up in some way, shape, or form. But like I said, right? Knowing that you're in a toxic ass relationship, the only reason you could be in a toxic ass relationship is because one or the other individual didn't realize what they wanted until they was in the motherfucking relationship. And then once they started to figure out all the things that they do want and didn't want in the meantime of y'all being in a relationship currently, that's going to start to participate and manifest as a toxic ass relationship. So keep that in mind. So if you're around somebody who's toxic as hell right now, know that's what's going on in their mind. They don't like you in some way, shape, or form. And they're doing things to make you come up with your own decision to leave or to be just as nasty as them. You know what I'm saying? And the more that you kind of disregard that and claim you truly love them, they're going to put their standards so high, you're not going to never be able to reach that cloud of satisfaction for them in some way, shape, or form, where you're really just living for someone else, being emotionally depressed, even physically abused in a lot of cases and things of that nature, because you're willing to stay up under a person who no longer see the traits within you that they want in their space. So it's going to become a very toxic ass relationship. So keep that in mind also. And like I said, a toxic ass relationship, you could be in a good relationship with a narcissist, you know what I'm saying? Or you could be in a bad relationship with a narcissist. It could be that's just a person who's super egotistical. You could be in a relationship with a person who ain't even a narcissist towards you. They probably a narcissist at work and things of that nature. So to you probably love that because they reach all the highest positions at work and shit like that. You see what I'm saying? But when we start to talk about a toxic relationship, that's something totally different. You know what I'm saying? And you could be in a toxic relationship with a nerd. You know what I'm saying? You might be let's look at it like this. You might be the female that a nerd wanted their whole life and things of that nature, right? And then as soon as this nerd gets you and shit like that, they start to realize, like, hold on, what the fuck did they get? A whole different bill, a whole different responsibility. And once they start to realize that's not what they wanted, then they're going to start to play out energies of making the relationship toxic. Because here's the thing, spirits get guilty. Now this nerd ain't going to just come out and be like, you're something I didn't thought you was, unless they get really comfortable with you. But like spirits get guilty. Here's the thing. The spirit know and that body know that you know that this nerd liked it you that much. So for the most part, it put you in it put the nerd in the situation where it's like, well, I can't just change my mind now because I didn't did all this to get this girl and stuff like that, so I can't really do that. So the nerds start doing extra nerdy things that you know you wouldn't like from the nerd and shit like that. And that's when you know deep down the nerd is doing some esoteric games in order for you to convince yourself why you shouldn't be with this person. And therefore, the nerd can go and feel relaxed that they didn't actually have to come out and say that themselves based upon all that weight that was on their spiritual shoulders, if you get what I'm saying. But for the most part, like I said, a toxic relationship could be in all kind of scenarios. So be careful who you jumping in a relationship with, and make sure you putting all your cards on the table before you even jump fully in a relationship with someone. Because once you lay out each card at a time throughout the duration of the relationship, it might be a certain card that you throw out that this person don't like, and then let the motherfucking games begin, and vice versa. So that's why it's important to start off spiritual relationships anyway, and not no magic square one. Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure.